Okay, feeling good, feeling great, feeling good. How are you? Welcome in. This is Timeline T. I am your host, the Sam D, aka Sam Dismay Jr. Oh, there's a lot to get into today. Appreciate those who are pulling up early like that. Hit that like button if you don't mind. Appreciate you in advance. So, as you see down here at the bottom, this is a stream that goes over everything that is popping on the timeline. I scour the timeline looking for the latest news, rumors, tea, innuendos, subliminals. There's a story that kind of came out today. Somebody said the quiet thing out loud. I'm not going to go there yet, but that is the quintessential definition of timeline T. Somebody jumped out on the ledge today, or somebody went on a podcast, wanted to shake things up, said a thing that's been whispered behind the scenes and is kind of low-key quietly been acknowledged for years. Somebody went out there on that ledge today. I'm not going to jump out there because I don't want no lawsuits, because that's how spicy that tea is. It's like it ain't no green tea. It ain't no breakfast English tea. It's got some ginger in it. It's a little spicy, a little matcha, a little ginger. It's got some kick. So if you know, you know, but let's just say someone finally jumped out there and said the quiet thing out loud. But I digress. So we move on. You see what we have here on the topics. Lamar Jackson versus the NFL. Is the NFL colluding against Lamar Jackson? Are the owners of the National Football League, who have been known to do such a thing when it comes to Colin Kaepernick, Eric Reed, so on and so forth, are they now colluding because they don't want the future of the most important position in the sport? They don't want that position to now have the past practice of getting paid fully guaranteed money. Are they colluding? Let me know early and often in the comments. Let's get the comments popping off. Let me know if you're here. Let's talk that talk. Zion Williamson, another setback, another injury setback, and there is no timetable for his return. It is unlikely he returns this season. Now, I have been a proponent of taking Ja Morant over Zion. It's documented. I would have never taken Zion with the #1 overall pick, but I understand why the league and the Pels did what they had to do to make sure that Zion went to one of the smaller markets in the NBA in terms of NOLA. So I get it. I understand. But how much longer are we going to let this Zion thing kind of linger without calling it what it might low-key be? It's not necessarily bust, but I would love for us as a community, as I'm building here on this channel, as we just crossed over 200 subs, and I appreciate all of those who have been able to come aboard and be a part of that. I would love for us to come up with a new term than bust, because Zion Williamson is categorically not a bust. However, there's a word for what this is. I don't want to say underachieving. I don't know what the word is, but let's see if we can come up with some groupthink. You know, I don't know if I need to go ask ChatGPT if it can come up with something, but some way, somehow, I would love to define what it is for what Zion Williamson has been in the league. Disappointing is too easy of a word. There's so many words that are too easy to define, you know, normally what we would call these things. And I think bust is too harsh. So there needs to be a middle ground. Let us think on that. And Ja Morant. There's a Ja Morant, I won't necessarily say update, but it's just we're getting more information about how things were going with the Memphis Grizzlies. I had the pleasure of going on ESPN radio over there in Chattanooga, Tennessee, with the homie Greg Larned. I go on there every Wednesday for an hour, co-host with him over there. And, you know, that community is very much locked in on what's going on with Ja. So being able to tap in with them and understand what they're thinking, what they're hearing, and so on and so forth, very insightful information. We'll touch on that later in the stream. But first, off rip, Lamar. So he got the non-exclusive franchise tag, as I was, you know, I won't say predicting as if I was all knowing, but on Monday I came on his stream and said They need to do the non-exclusive instead of the exclusive, and that's what ended up happening with the Ravens. So Lamar now is available to seek out deals. But the strangest thing happened yesterday after the franchise tag was put on Lamar Jackson. All of a sudden, every team that was rumored to be in the mix for Lamar, or a potential landing spot for Lamar, or at least bare minimum, teams that would be in a position to at least have a conversation with Lamar and potentially use the contract offered by said teams to leverage against the Ravens. All of a sudden, en masse, all those teams came out and said, we're not interested. When have you seen such a calculated, synchronized effort by teams in the NFL? I'll wait. Let me know in the comments, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. When have you seen such a concentrated effort synchronized? Because one after the other, as soon as the Lamar thing became official, first it was the Falcons and Arthur Blank, scared money. We're not interested. Then the Panthers, we're not interested. All these teams in a row, not interested, not interested. Then I came on here on the stream yesterday and said, well, hey, who has an axe to grind against the owners and who's also trying to get out? That's your man's Daniel Snyder. I thought he might use this time to have an axe to grind against the Shield, against the NFL, and say, you know what? Lamar, you don't got to drive that far down 95. Come on and pull up over here. And let's see if we can figure something out. 250, 300, it don't matter. I won't be on the hook for the bill, but I'm just trying to make sure I get Bezos for every penny I can. So it's a win-win. Lamar gets his bread, and low-key, he gets a way better offense than he would ever have in Baltimore. And he's able to get in bait, and Snyder is able to get his revenge because he wants $7 billion. And allegedly, he's only been offered in the neighborhood of 6 and change. So how can you get that $7 billion or maybe even $8 billion? By going to get the 2019 league MVP, going to get a guy that's, one of the more popular players in the league and more polarizing players in the league, a guy that's been on the cover of Madden. You could go get that guy. Offer him the fully guaranteed money. He gets what he wants. The Ravens get 2 first-round picks. You get to run to the bank on Bezos even more than you thought, and everyone's a winner. But even the Commanders last night, not necessarily lockstep with the rest of the league, but on their own time, announced that they're not going to pursue Lamar Jackson. And then we have the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. Mark Davis and the Raiders came out and said, you know what? We would be in on Lamar Jackson. And I said, oh, okay, here we go. We finally have a team that has a need at quarterback, a team that has weapons that Lamar doesn't have in Baltimore. Okay, now we have something. We can really get to build on this. Now, if Lamar can go to Vegas, big market, that Raiders jersey, that Lamar Raiders jersey would have been hitting. But here's the problem. And you have to remember certain things when it comes to certain franchises. The Las Vegas Raiders, much like the Los Angeles Lakers, are a family-run business. And to keep it a buck and to get right to the point, they don't got the bread. They don't got it. They don't have the money it would take to put in escrow to be able to give Lamar the type of contract that he genuinely feels he deserves, and the NFLPA is rightfully behind him, urging him to do so. They don't got it. They don't have it. And when you take a look at what's, available in terms of the way the contracts have been structured here and the way that it has been talked about a lot about who has fully guaranteed money and who doesn't, who deserves it and who doesn't. so on and so forth. There's been a lot of back and forth in regards to it, but I would love for us to take a look at together as a family at this chart. This right here will tell you all you pretty much need to know in regards to salary money, fully guaranteed money, funny money, so on and so forth. There's a lot of funny money here. And when you isolate certain things, you're looking at, because we finally got the numbers on Daniel Jones, and we'll get there. We'll get there. But let's go through what we have here in regards to Deshaun Watson, 230 total value. You can see that here. Let me see if I can I do a highlight on this? No, it's a picture. I don't know if I can highlight. Yeah, I can't highlight. Sorry for that. So you have Deshaun Watson here kind of in the middle, 230. And you see that it averages out to 46 mil a year. Again, Daniel Jones was asking for more than that. Okay, just let's never forget. Now, he didn't end up getting it, but that's the point. You ask for way more than you know you're going to get just in case you find a sucker, right? So Daniel Jones was able to get it off. I want $48 million a year. His agents went in there and had no problem asking for way overpriced. Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent, allegedly asks for fully guaranteed money, or if you want to believe Fraud A. Smith, doesn't ask for guaranteed money, but whatever it is, it was a big number. It's problematic when he does it just because he doesn't have an agent. But Daniel Jones has an agent, and he went in there and asked for more money than Patrick Mahomes. Okay? If you're asking for 48 mil a year, you'll see here on the chart, only Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson average more money than that. So Daniel Jones was asking for more money than Patrick Mahomes, more money than Deshaun Watson, and more money than Kyler Murray. But because it has an agent, it's just business. But when Lamar does it, all you need an agent, you are costing yourself millions. Make it make sense. Anywho, so let's continue on. So we have this salary averaged out. Here's the column, the next to last column, the fully guaranteed column. That's the column that interests me the most, because there's someone here that's also making guaranteed money that no one ever mentions in these conversations. Kirk Cousins, take a look down here towards the bottom, fifth from the bottom. And Kirk Cousins has been making guaranteed money the last, well, he's coming into the last year of his deal. The last 3 years, he's been fully guaranteed. Kirk Cousins. Now, he was the last one that was in this Lamar type situation, but the Washington football team put him on the exclusive franchise tag and just rolled that out 2 more years. And then he went to the Vikings and got fully guaranteed money. So as much as the owners are up in arms over what the Browns did in terms of guaranteeing, I think the problem is that Deshaun's contract is so long, and that it's what, a 5-year deal? 5 years, 230. So that's the problem. Whereas Kirk Cousins got a 2-3-year deal at guaranteed money, and he's getting $35 million per year. And again, we are all on the same page that Kirk Cousins is definitely not a top 5 quarterback. And you can argue if he's top 10. It's debatable if he's even top 10. So this is a guy that's arguably not a top 10 quarterback, but he was able to get a fully guaranteed contract. You have Deshaun Watson, nasty man, who was coming off 1 million allegations of different types of harassment from masseuses, and he was able to get $230 million guaranteed. But Lamar Jackson, yes, coming off an injury, but still a former league MVP. All these teams are jumping out the window, racing to put out there to the press, to the blue check boys and girls, that they want no parts of Lamar Jackson. There's no interest in Lamar Jackson. Don't tell me that's about ability. When Kirk Cousins could go get guaranteed money, when Deshaun Watson can go get guaranteed money, when Daniel Jones can go ask to get more money than Patrick Mahomes, don't tell me, well, with Lamar, it's about how good he actually is. No, I refuse. I refuse to believe that. And if you believe that, if you're someone that, co-signs that type of rhetoric, then maybe you need to examine yourself. Seriously, because there's no real logic to that. There's no real evidence to that. Everything is to the contrary in that space. Everything. When you look at all this money, the total guarantees and the total value is essentially funny money. Look at this contract for Josh Allen, 258 total value. Total guaranteed, 150. Fully guaranteed, 100. You go from 258 million. And if he falls down and goes boom and can never play again. We just had the conversation with Byron Jones of the Dolphins yesterday, how he's saying he can't run or jump, and he's not even 30. He's essentially done. He might have to retire. If Josh Allen, don't want to wish these things upon people, but he only gets 100 mil of that 258. Now, this total guaranteed, I'm assuming includes the signing bonus and things of that nature. So we're assuming that's already paid out. Get 50 mil at signing. So even 150 of 258, that's not, how is this ratio good? Explain that. For all the people who feel Lamar, and take it off Lamar, for all the people who feel that there should be no guaranteed contracts in the NFL, what's a legitimate reason why? I would love to know. Baseball got it, NBA got it, NHL got it. I would love to know why there's such a pushback for NFL players to get fully guaranteed money. Deshaun Watson got it. Kirk Cousins got it before him. What's the problem? Because you see Patrick Mahomes, total value is $450 million. The total guaranteed is $141 million. That's over $300 million of funny money. Do you understand what I'm saying? 450 mil in value. But if Mahomes high ankle sprain and he never recovers and he can't play again, he only gets 141 million of that. It just doesn't make sense, man. I wish the NFL Players Association was stronger. I really do. I wish they had a backbone. I wish there was a way that they could, grow a pair as a union, as a base. But when you're looking at the money here, all these contracts are bloated. Imagine if you had a job and, let's keep the median average. You're making 75 grand. You're being told you're going to get paid 75 grand. But for whatever reason, they let you go, you get laid off, you only get 50 grand of that. Or let's even, let's run that back. You make 75 grand. And you're signing thinking you're making 75 grand for this job. But then they have all these incentives. You got to be employee of the month. You got to be an exceptional employee. You got to go all these metrics that they make damn near impossible to hit. But your base pay is only 45 grand. You going to do that? You going to work that job? How you going to feel going back to wifey? Well, I get paid 75 a year, but it could be also 45. Like, wait, what? That's a huge gap. So which is it? Which number is it? Is it 45 or 75? That's what this is in the NFL. And yes, I understand it's millions and who cares? It's millionaires fighting billionaires. But I think oftentimes fans look at things from an executive point of view, like they're an owner. Is fantasy football run amok? Is franchise mode on Madden run amok? We're all closer to employees in this type of scope than we are to owners and front office executives. Yet and still, fans look at things from the Jerry Jones point of view. And I'm just like, well, why would you do that? You're closer to Dak than you are to Jerry Jones. Like, I don't know why you're looking at things like you could just cut people, get rid of people, cut his salary. Like, wait, what are you talking about? No. And speaking of Dak, Dak's trying to get an extension because Dak is essentially getting Daniel Jones money. Dak, per year is $40 million a year, as you see here. $160 million, $40 per year. Now, Dak has more money total guaranteed. But again, if I see Daniel Jones even come close to my salary range, we got to talk money. It's time to renegotiate. And that's what Dak is trying to do. Dak is trying to get some more bread about the Cowboys because why wouldn't you? Once you see what Daniel Jones just got, you think Daniel Jones should get the same money as me? Are you kidding me? No. Steven, Jerry, yes, talk to my people because that ain't going to fly. If I'm Dak Prescott, I never want Daniel Jones to think he is in my zip code in terms of bank account. No, never. As the QB of the Cowboys, that still carries cachet. As the QB of the Cowboys, I got to share a similar tax bracket with Daniel Jones, Vanilla Vic? Are you kidding me? No. So why can't the NFL owners understand that this is going to go away? This funny money structure, if the NFLPA can grow a pair, if the players can hold fast like Lamar is trying to do, now it's going to take him finding a team though, because the Raiders don't got it. The Raiders do not have the money in escrow to be able to pay Lamar Jackson the fully guaranteed money he rightfully deserves. Who's going to step up? And that's why I think the Ravens so nonchalantly put him out there on a non-exclusive franchise tag. Go ahead and see if you can find a contract. Go ahead. Because, again, realize he's going to get paid less if he can't go find a contract. If he can't go find a partner to deal with so that the Ravens could get the 2 first-round picks, he's going to have to just come back and either accept the tag, but it's going to be at a significantly lower rate. What is it, 32.4? As opposed to, 45 mil? If he was to get the exclusive franchise tag and then there's no, negotiating with other teams. So the Ravens are like, okay, go ahead. Because when you come back, because we have colluded with other owners and told them, hey, no one else pay him fully guaranteed money because you'll mess it up for everybody else. The Browns, they're still mad about the Browns, right? So let's not, make this a bigger thing. Let's not make this don't take this from being an anomaly to a trend. If Lamar is able to find another team that will also pay him fully guaranteed money, now it's a trend. You can't just say, the Browns were crazy. Jimmy Haslam and them, they was wowing. You can't just say that because now you have another team that is pulling up and willing to pay fully guaranteed money to Lamar Jackson. So now that's 2 QBs and 3 if we throw in Kirk Cousins, which no one wants to seem to throw in there. There's already 2 QBs with fully guaranteed money. Kirk Cousins is out here getting all his bread. No one wants to talk about it. 1, because it's Kirk Cousins, and 2, it was a shorter term deal. But the bottom line is that the Vikings were not raked over the coals. The Vikings were not called idiots. The Vikings were not called stupid for giving Kirk Cousins fully guaranteed money. Now, Deshaun Watson, who was going to get fully guaranteed money from Arthur Blank and the Falcons before the Browns outbid them with more fully guaranteed money. So this is why all of this is just a thing of, why the outrage now? If you watch the Chris Rock special, selective outrage. Why the selective outrage when it comes to the Browns and potentially any team that tries to go in on Lamar Jackson? There was no outrage for Kirk Cousins. He got fully guaranteed money, and I didn't see not one debate show go crazy over it. There was no viral clips of how dare the Vikings give Kirk Cousins guaranteed money. None of that. But Deshaun Watson gets it. Now, I know there's layers there with all the cases and allegations, so I understand that piece to it. But the bottom line is he got it. They went crazy over that. Okay, cool. But now we have Lamar Jackson, league MVP. It's a problem when he wants fully guaranteed money. You gave it to Kirk Cousins. Pardon. You gave it to Kirk Cousins. What are we doing? Somebody got to tell me something. I firmly believe this is collusion. You don't go and have all those teams all in a row as soon as Lamar gets announced to have that franchise tag, all of them en masse, all of them collectively jump out the window and announce to either the blue check boys and girls or on their own social media platforms, we as a team have no interest in Lamar Jackson. When have we seen that type of collective force like that? Colin Kaepernick? Is this blackballing? Is it collusion? Are we finding new words? Make up whatever word you want to say it is. But when you have teams like the Panthers who have obvious QB needs, when you have the Falcons who have obvious QB needs, you want to tell me after 4 games they know what they have in Desmond Ridder? 4 games, they think they good? They were just ready to go get Deshaun Watson last year and give him all the guaranteed money. They saw Desmond Ridder for 4 games, and they're like, I'm good, love, enjoy. On Lamar Jackson? You want to believe that? And then we have the Washington Commanders who have Eric Bieniemy, who knows a thing or two about working with dual threat quarterbacks. But yet he's got Sam Howell and Heineke, and they're announcing they don't want no parts of Lamar Jackson when they write up 95 from him. Collusion. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll spin the block. But I know right now the Raiders don't got the bread, but the Raiders are the only team I've seen publicly. If you've seen another team publicly say we're not against going after Lamar Jackson, let me know in the comments. But as of right now, the Raiders are the only team I've seen. They're the only team I've seen. And let's move to the some of this contract information for Daniel Jones. And again, this is just funny money. Daniel Jones, 4-year, $160 million contract with the Giants includes $82 million fully guaranteed at signing and another $12 that locks in March of 2024. So that's $94 million guaranteed, right? So in essence, and if you look at the practical here, they're telling you it's 3 years, $112.5 million. That math is not mathing. Let's go back to this chart. Okay, so 105 fully guaranteed is 82. Okay, so that is more aligned with that. 82 fully guaranteed, and then you got to wait till March of next year to get another 12. So you can't really count that 12 into the fully guaranteed, because if something happens between now and, February, what's next year's a leap year, 29th of 2024, he won't get that 12 million. So that's why 82 million. So 160 M's, 82 of which is fully guaranteed. That's a lot of funny money. That's 78 million in funny money. 78 million in funny money. That's like 49% of the contract. It's funny money. I don't understand. And I'm not alone in this collusion thing. Here's Richard Sherman, who is out here, part of that new media thing of former athletes, going out here and creating content. Let me blow this up for y'all. Is that too much? No, we good right there. Okay. This Lamar Jackson situation needs to get more attention. I mean, that's why we here. That's why we here, Rich. Teams would rather lose or employ worse players than pay a former MVP in his prime. Preach. Can you imagine Joe Burrow, getting a non-exclusive tag and there being no interest? It's insane. Yes, it is. It quite actually is insane, or it's collusion. So like that's the only two ways about it. There's no other logical way to go about it, in my opinion. If you're really telling me that all these teams that have QB needs, there's tons of teams in this league. The Jets, if they lose out on Aaron Rodgers, what are the Jets going to do? You would really go back to Zach Wilson, then throw in 2 first-round picks at the Ravens and say, Lamar, come on through? If you really think you're an Aaron Rodgers away from competing in the AFC and maybe getting to a Lombardi, if you miss out on Aaron Rodgers, you wouldn't go get Lamar Jackson? You're just going to settle for Zach Wilson? Are you going to go get another retread QB like a Jimmy G? Is that really what you would do if you're the Jets? If you're willing to fly across the country to go meet up with A-Raj, if you're willing to do all of that, why wouldn't you be willing to throw 2 first-round picks at the Ravens and say, yo, Lamar, come on. Our window is right now. We have young talent on both sides of the ball right now. You put a 27-year-old prime former MVP back there, he's immediately the best quarterback in Jets franchise history. Immediately. So I'm having a hard time understanding why there's the narrative of, well, Lamar just might not be good enough. There are still people taking shots at how good of a quarterback he actually is. And while is he perfect? No. But, you know, I remember I had someone in the comments on one of the shorts that I put out there about Lamar, and they were telling me about his completion percentage and da-da-da. I was like, you know, his completion percentage is higher than Josh Allen's, and it's only 2% behind Mahomes, right? Crickets. Never heard from him again in the comments. I don't know what people just come with these narratives and say things and just they regurgitate what they hear on the 4-letter network. They regurgitate what they see elsewhere on the timeline, and they try to get it off like it's fact without actually doing the science. Like, do the work. Like, look it up. It's a Google away. Football Reference is your friend. Like, it's right there. But anywho, what do y'all think? Are teams colluding together to make sure Lamar doesn't get his bag? Is all of this a ploy just so Lamar has to run back to the Ravens, take the 32.4, and take his medicine? It wouldn't be the first time. There's a reason why Kaepernick had to take that bag in the settlement, and there's also a reason why Eric Reed still is a free agent all these years later. Y'all let me know. So that is Lamar versus the NFL. So we'll slide off to Zion. Zion, your man Zion. I don't know what to make of Zion. It's not looking good for him. Go to the screen. Per Brian Windhurst of the 4-letter network, he's not close. His setback was significant. And let's see if we can, we'll come off this for a second, pull up the Basketball Reference of Zion, and let's examine it, because I asked y'all in the intro, for those who are here, bust is not the word, but we need to come up as a family, as a collective, as a community that I'm trying to build here on this channel. What's a word for what Zion has been? Because it's not bust. I don't want to say that word, but it's something close to it for a guy that was supposed to be Himothy, if you want to go extra with it. This was a guy who was thought to be next up. He was supposed to be a brand superstar. He was supposed to be a superstar. And if you look at the numbers show you that, yeah, when he plays, he's nice. It's never been a question of, can he play at this level? The question I always wanted to ask is, well, how does that look long-term at the next level? And I'm afraid we might not ever find out. This is where we're at in year 4. 24 games, 61 games, didn't play all of last year. And now we have this year where he was able to play at times, and when he played, he was amazing. Now, he's also ball dominant and very much a heavy ISO player, but you see the numbers, 26, 5, and 7. That's top tier. That's a guy that over the long haul, yeah, that's worthy of the #1 pick. If he can continue to give you that for like a 10-year career, that's worthy of the number one pick, even with Ja Morant right behind him going number 2. You would still not slight the Pelicans for doing it. The problem is that there were concerns about maybe his weight. Well, yeah, let's just be clear. There was concerns about the weight, but there was also concerns about how does that translate at the next level? Where does he go? Where does he play? When the athleticism isn't there, how does that look on the back half of his prime? When he doesn't have the bunnies, how does he adjust? That was going to be a real question. And I think what we have to finally realize is that I don't know if this guy can really play 70 games. You can't even ask for 82. That ain't never going to happen. I mean, even if we weren't in the most load managing era of basketball ever, I just don't think his body can withstand 82 games. So are we asking, is 70 games asking too much? Like, that's kind of where we're at with it. And the problem is they got a squad. The Pelicans have a squad. If they were able to keep things on the level, they have a squad. But they don't. They can't keep this guy healthy, or he can't keep himself healthy. He keeps having setbacks. Look, that training staff, remember there was a thing not that long ago. This was when AD, Anthony Davis, was still there. Remember, they were sharing a training staff with the New Orleans Saints because they were owned by the Benson family. So there was some real concerns about how the basketball players and the football players were being treated intermittently in terms of you were rehabbing football players in basketball ways and vice versa. It's very much a cheap way to go about it. You don't want to pay for 2 staffs, so we're just going to have 1 staff cover 2 sports. It's a very cheap way to go about it. They said they changed and that the Saints have their own, training staff and that the Pels have their own training staff. I'm just now concerned about the quality of it because this guy can't stay healthy. And he says all the right things. And look, that contract is going to come up soon. They're going to have a decision to make very soon. Like, I think this is something that could be moved. He got the extension because they always get the extension in your rookie deal. But, I mean, you really want to hang on to this for 7 years? That's essentially what it is. When you have a first-round pick, you have control for 7 years. If you're the Pels, do you really want to hang on to this for 7 more years, for a total of 7 years? I don't know. I feel for him. That squad is nice when they're fully healthy, but they're never healthy. Young Reaper, Brandon Ingram is a problem. You heard KD during All-Star Weekend talk about he's the player that compares to him the most, which, validates me calling Brandon Ingram B.I. Young Reaper for about 4 or 5 years now. So the Pels should be in the mix for a playoff spot. Could still low-key be in the mix. I mean, they're 10 right now, but, I mean, it's not looking good for them, especially if they're shutting down Zion. That's going to put a lot more pressure on B.I. and C.J. McCollum. But that's something I just want to touch on real quick. Ja Morant. So there's been some reporting. There's been some updates here. And if you can't believe it, there could be even more stuff coming. So there's an expectation within the Grizzlies that Ja Morant could be away from the team for an extended time, per Shams Charania. More stringent penalties could come from the league, could come from the police. So this is in regards to him on IG Live with the pistol. What was it, a 22? It looked like a 22. So he had a pistol on IG Live in a allegedly private strip club. And now people want to know, was that your gun? Is that gun licensed? Were there more guns? Was that gun on the team playing? So on and so forth. So this is now becoming a tidal wave of stuff for Ja Morant because there's stuff in the CBA. There's in the personal, what's it called? The personal conduct part of the CBA for NBA players where if there's a loaded weapon, if there's a weapon of any kind on a team plane or a team charter or any team vehicle, That's 50 games minimum. 50, easy. So Ja's putting himself, and I'm going to get into this more on the DCMD podcast. I'm going to check that out. Link is in the description. Going to get into this way more in depth there than I can here with the time I have. But there is a lot to be made of the Ja thing, and I'll just touch on this. Ja Morant, there's an accountability issue here, clearly. He's put himself in a lot of these positions. If he actually has a problem, whether it's the stress, anxiety thing that was kind of insinuated in the statement that was released, or whether it's something more, just been videos put online in, inferring that there could be an alcohol problem, allegedly. But, whatever it is, he's taking time away to go get help. And that help comes with, I hope that help comes with accountability. And it's not about the hangers on. It's not about your dad who's too busy, trying to be a doppelganger for Usher. It's not about your moms who, is calling you and the homies to come pull up because she's got beef with a Finish Line employee. It's not about any of that. It's the fact that you're the head of the family, even though you probably are not qualified to be head of the family from a maturity standpoint, age standpoint, so on and so forth. So because of your stature, because of the bag that you've got, I mean, he's over 200 M's up. Over 200 M's up. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure for a youngin'. That's a lot of pressure to bring your family up out the bottom, or not really the bottom because the family's not that. It was, to bring your family up out of whatever position they were in to obviously a humongously up position. That's asking a lot. And that's asking a lot of someone who might not have had the type of solid foundation to be able to handle it. So there's a lot more here with Ja. There's a lot of stuff in regards to what's next. The Grizzlies as a team, again, I don't want to stick too long on this because I will be discussing it at length on my podcast. But in regards to the team itself, the Grizzlies, I doubt they hang on to the 3 spot, especially if Ja's not coming back. I mean, if Ja's not coming back, I don't see how they hang on to the 3 spot. The fact that the Kings have overtaken them for 2 is hilarious, like the beam. But yeah, there's a lot to be. I think the Suns are going to catch. Yeah, they're going to catch the Grizz. They'll take care of them. I mean, how far can they fall? I don't see them falling to the 5. They still have enough pieces to hang on to the 4. I think they slide one more spot. I think Phoenix catches them and they probably stick at the 4. And I'm sure now there's going to be a race between the teams here. Dallas, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, like all these teams that are so tight in the loss column, they're all trying to get the 5. Now the race is, especially if Memphis falls to 5, get the 5. If they somehow can hold off the Suns at 3, then it's, let's get to 6. Everyone wants to play the Grizz in the first round. They don't have their best player. And as great as I think Jaren Jackson Jr., Triple J is, he's not a number 1 option. Desmond Bane's a shooter. Dylan Brooks is, a short, light-skinned version of Rasheed Wallace, apparently, from getting teed up all the damn time. Like, there's not a lot there past Ja Morant. That's why, in the leadership angle, we talked about it, and I don't know if you peeped what Shams Charania has said. Let me see. Do I have that here? I thought I have that. Let me see. No, I don't have it. I thought I pulled that. Anyway, so there was a report. Shams Charania said that with the Grizzlies and Ja Morant, they literally had a players-only meeting. And in that meeting, Steven Adams, without saying Ja's name, called out Ja. Said, we have a bad record on the road. I'm paraphrasing. We have a bad record on the road. And I think for us to get better on the road, we need to be more disciplined on the road. More professional on the road. This is Steven Adams, a vet. Everyone kept jumping. Oh, well, they need more vets on that team. Remember, Andre Iguodala didn't even want to be there. And the Grizzlies said, yeah, we don't need that old head. Well, they got an old head in Steven Adams, and ain't no one pressing Steven Adams. Your man Shannon with that tight-ass cardigan, he tried it, but he learned. He backed up a few steps. You don't want no problems with no dude from New Zealand. You good. But anyway, He called out the lack of professionalism, the lack of leadership, the lack of accountability indirectly from Ja Morant. Because if you look at the Grizz road record, they have a horrible road record. Get off this ad. Let's see, can we break down the splits? Where's the splits? Oh, we love it when they make you do these splits. Why can't it just be on the regular page? They have a bad road record. Yeah, they're 12-21 on the road. 12-21. So damn near unbeatable at home, but they never went on the road. So, they're trying to rectify that because as a 3 seed, as a 2 seed, 3 seed, and maybe even as a 4 seed, you're going to have to win a few games on the road in the playoffs. And if you're 12-21 on the road, that doesn't speak well. That doesn't speak well. You might be able to get out the first round, maybe, but that second round, you're going to be on the road a lot if you're a 3 or a 4 seed. You're going to have to steal games on the road. And right after this players only meeting, allegedly, is when we had the whole private strip club thing with Ja on IG. So you have one of your vets pull up and tell you, look, man, on the road, we got to be more professional. We got to carry ourselves, have some accountability on the road. Our road record is trash. And then man pulls up and goes to a private strip club with the 22 and then flashes it on the gram. Accountability for Ja Morant. That's definitely going to be a thing. I wish him the best. I'll get into it way more on the CMD podcast. Link is in the description. But I think there will be a point in time to where I don't think he comes back this year. I don't think we see. If there's really a problem, whether it's stress, anxiety, potentially alcoholism, allegedly, that's not a quick fix. You can't just go to the crib for a week or two and then pull up for the playoffs and think you good. Like that's just not how that works. And I think that would be dangerous, a dangerous precedent set if the league, the team and the league allowed him to come back so soon. If that's legitimately a problem, if that's just the cover for him just to be wilding, that's different. But if there's really a problem, if there's really some sort of issue that he's dealing with off the court, you cannot have him come back and play this season. You cannot. It would be liable for a lawsuit and all of that. We have a comment. Let's see. Oh, this is on the Ravens. My bad. But we can always spin the block back to Lamar. Biscotti and the owners and agents sabotaging Lamar. So sad. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, I agree with you. And feel free, even if I'm on another topic, if you want to talk about something I talked about earlier, feel free. I'm sorry I missed that comment. I don't know if she's still here, but thank you, Tanya, for the comment. Yes. And, I really do think there is some sort of collusion going on. I genuinely believe that there is some sort of collusion going on between the owners and, the narrative of him having an agent. And there's been some prominent people that have said it's time for Lamar to go get an agent. And I understand their logic because, they take the battles. You're paying them that 10% for the battles that you don't want to have to deal with. That's their job. Their job is to take the bullets for you, right? Their job is to go into the Ravens front office and go ask for the moon and the stars and then to deal with the aftermath of whatever they spit back in their rebuttal, right? Like that's their job. Their job is to have relationships with other teams and so on and so forth, to be able to work inroads behind the scenes and so on and so forth. But what makes you think Lamar, who officially doesn't have representation, who says that doesn't mean he has other people in his corner that have those same types of similar relationships? Like, what makes you think just because he doesn't have an agent, that doesn't mean he doesn't have anyone in his camp or the NFLPA who is also equally invested in this almost as much, if not more, than Lamar? They can help as well. So this notion that it's just Lamar walking into an office and sitting down and having, the whole Ravens front office right there in front of him, and it's like 8 people on one, that's not necessarily how this goes. And yes, the Ravens worked out a deal with Roquan Smith, who didn't have any representation, and they were able to get a long-term deal done with him. But again, he wasn't asking for fully guaranteed money. He was just asking for money that the Chicago Bears were never going to pay him. So yes, it can happen. There's been players who were, during the pandemic and quarantine, there were players getting paid in crypto that didn't have representation. I know for sure was it Bobby Wagner? It was definitely a linebacker, a prominent linebacker, and an offensive lineman, also Pro Bowl type lineman that went in there with no representation. Was it Okung? Russell Okung? It was somebody of that level that went in there with no representation and said, "I want my money in Bitcoin," and the owners gladly paid it. Here, sure. You want to put funny money on top of even more funny money? Here, take it in Bitcoin. Here, no problem. But when Lamar's asking for that cold hard cash, run me my bread, all of it. Oh, it's World War III. Even though Kirk Cousins got fully guaranteed money. Even though Deshaun Watson, nasty man, coming off all them cases, got fully guaranteed money. The same guaranteed money, or at least the same structure that the Falcons and Arthur Blank, who are now running scared because it's Lamar, they were willing to do it for Deshaun Watson last year. This year, Lamar, all of a sudden, we don't know. We're out. We saw 4 games of Desmond Ridder and we're convinced. Are you really trying to get that off? But I think the Ravens did this because they knew. The Ravens did this because they knew. They knew they were going to be able to get the rest of the league to toe the line. Because you have to always remember, this is protecting the shield. This is all about protecting the shield. The Ravens use the lesser of the franchise tag, which gives Lamar even less money if he can't get the deal that he wants for another team. They're able to get him at a lesser number. It was going to be $45 million. Now they only have to pay him $32.4 if he can't get a better deal elsewhere. And worst case scenario, if he does find that deal, they still get 2 first-round picks. So I think that's something that it's a win-win for the Ravens. It's a win-win. They really get to have whatever they want. The only way they would, in essence, lose is by giving him the exclusive and by having to pay him 45 M's. Now they're calling Lamar's bluff. Go out there and find the fully guaranteed money. But good luck finding that fully guaranteed money, especially when we all have a handshake, eye-to-eye agreement with the rest of the owners of don't give him the money he wants. Don't. They were all just at the combine. You think that's a coincidence? They were all just in Indianapolis at the combine. Front office executives, owners, all of it, just in Indianapolis. You think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden when Lamar gets announced to have the franchise tag placed upon him, all of them lock in step, all in a row. It was like dominoes, all falling. Falcons, Panthers, Commanders, like, wait, hold up. All the teams that could use a QB are all in sync, in chronological order, all coming out at the same time saying we don't want Lamar? That doesn't sound weird to you? And that's why we go back to, the Richard Sherman tweet. We ain't stupid. We ain't stupid. Teams would rather lose or employ worse players than pay a former MVP in his prime. Can you imagine Joe Burrow getting a non-exclusive tag and there being no interest? That's the thing about it. Because there's going to be more QBs whose bag is coming up. And let's go back here to the screen with the salaries. Like, there's certain QBs that aren't here. Justin Herbert's not here yet. He's due to get his bag. Joe Burrow's already made a Super Bowl. Arguably could have made another one. He's due to get his bag. So they can't let Lamar get his bag now. Because if you let Lamar get it, you know Joe Burrows and Justin Herbert will go in there and say, oh yeah, run that. Run that fully guaranteed like Lamar got. But here's where it gets dicey. If, and this is a huge if Lamar doesn't get his fully guaranteed money, but yet Justin Herbert and or Joe Burrows does, the shield. Roger Goodell, good luck. Roger Goodell, good luck defending that one. Good luck spinning that one. I know the NFL's got a lot of great lawyers and great writers lockstep in that organization. They better have something ready to spin. Because if you think Lamar not getting his fully guaranteed bag, but Joe Burrows or Justin Herbert, Jay Herbo, goes out there and gets fully guaranteed bread, it's open season. It's open season. We airing them out. We are going to air them out. Please believe I will be right here. Appreciate those hitting the like button if you can. That really does help the algorithm and all that stuff. You know, this whole YouTube stuff is fancy, but if you hit that like button, I really do appreciate it. It's going to come down to where someone's going to have to blink. Either Lamar's going to blink and not taking the money that he feels he rightfully deserves, or a team is going to find the money. Because I don't think that, the Raiders don't have it. Even though the Raiders are one of the few teams, and no one else has hit me in the comments, so I'm assuming no other team has come out and said that they would go get Lamar. The Raiders are the only team. But of course they can say that because they don't have the bread. They don't have it in escrow. So it's almost like it's an empty statement. We have interest in pursuing Lamar Jackson. You can't afford Lamar Jackson. He would be taking the shortest of shorts if he goes to the Vegas. But he would have a running game. He would have a true number one receiver, Devonta Adams. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Darren Waller. You would assume they will find a way to bring him back. But like that roster, you plop Lamar in there, that's a good look. Most weapons he would have ever had in his NFL career. So, but the Raiders don't got it. They're a family-run business like the Lakers. So who legitimately have the Jets come out and said anything? Because if I'm the Jets and I strike out on Aaron Rodgers, I'm going right to Lamar. Who else you want them to go get? You're going to go from Aaron Rodgers to Jimmy G? Aaron Rodgers to Zach Wilson? Mike White? You're going to try that again? Like what are you doing? So I don't know what happens with Lamar. This is something I'm obviously going to be keeping an eye on because this is a polarizing type thing. And there's two quarterbacks that are coming up soon, Joe Burrows and Justin Herbert, that you see this list of guaranteed money. And Kirk Cousins, I mean, this is the last year of his deal. Let me go to the comments. Truth Seeker, stand on your square, Lamar. I'm here for it. Yeah, I hope he does. I hope he does. I really hope Lamar stands on his square and gets the money that he justfully deserves. And the NFLPA, they need him to get this because this is one of the weaker unions in all of sports, in professional sports, especially here in this country. It's the weakest by far. So he needs to stand firm. But the problem is, Truth Seeker, I don't know who has the bread. There's a lot of teams that are coming in unison, I think, in collusion to support the Baltimore Ravens, because the Ravens clearly aren't trying to pay him what he deserves. They'll pay him on the tag, and they'll try to get him into one of these Daniel Jones contracts where 51% of the money is guaranteed. Imagine that. Daniel Jones, this big bloated 160 million number, is actually only 82 million guaranteed. He gets an extra 12 million next March. So if anything happens between now and February of next year, he don't even get that extra 12 mil. He only gets this 82 mil. Now that's still a hell of a lot of money for Vanilla Vic. But in essence of announcing to the world that you're getting 160 million, that's not what it is. It's a bunch of funny money. Funny money on top of funny money on top of funny money. They put these ridiculous incentives that you would have to outperform. You would have to be Mahomes-like to hit all these incentives. And like I said earlier, speaking of Mahomes, look at this contract, $450 million. Now it's over 10 years, but 63 guaranteed. Now, total guaranteed 141, so it's a huge signing bonus, but in essence, $450 million. 63 guaranteed. Y'all understand the math of that, right? Like I'm not bugging. I don't think I'm bugging here, but that math doesn't math. But you're Mahomes. So I'm sure he's clipped off a bunch of those incentives. MVPs, Super Bowl MVPs. He's checked off a whole bunch of those incentives, but he's Patrick Mahomes. He can do that. If you're Daniel Jones, you're not getting those incentives. You're not getting that money. But the number is huge. So it makes you think, $160 million for Daniel Jones, but he only getting 82 of it. 51% of that he's getting. It's really, really sad. It's sad. Don't let Justin Herbert or Burrows get guaranteed money. Here's the thing. Here's the last question I'll leave y'all. Is the NFL doing this because they don't want Lamar to get this? Or are they doing this because if it happens to Lamar, now they can never go back? Justin Herbert has to get fully guaranteed money. Joe Burrows has to get guaranteed money. Trevor Lawrence has to get guaranteed money. In the future, Caleb Williams has to go get guaranteed money. Jalen Hurts has to go get guaranteed money. Are they doing this to protect the culture of these contracts, the nature, the past practice? I used to work in the healthcare industry as a union rep. So we would battle with management, and management never wanted to come off any type of guarantees. They never wanted to guarantee anything because that money is lockstep. No matter what, that money is coming to us. So I understand why the Shield is like, no. Kirk Cousins, we let them quietly get that off. No one said anything, so we just ignored it, and it's Kirk Cousins, so it's not like they're going to get a championship anytime soon. It's fine. Plus, it was a short-term deal, so it's fine. Deshaun Watson, it was an anomaly. Jimmy Haslam is crazy. But if Lamar gets it, that's the league MVP, face of the franchise. Guy's already been on the cover of Madden. There's a lot more there. Now that resume stacks up. Now you can't tell Justin Herbert he can't get fully guaranteed money. You can't tell Joe Burrows, who's been to two more, almost two Super Bowls, been to one, almost made another. You can't tell him he's not on par with Lamar. So therefore, he has to get guaranteed money. Jalen Hurts, off a Super Bowl. You can't tell him he can't get fully guaranteed money. So is the Shield trying to protect the archaic salary structure? Or is this just about Lamar? Either way, it doesn't bode well for Lamar Jackson, unfortunately. We need to find a team that will do it. I thought the Raiders might be it. It doesn't appear that the Raiders will be it because they don't have the cash in escrow to pull it off. That is just unfortunate. I will take this weekend and I will be, as the week goes on and we head into the weekend, I would hope we're able to get more information. But I think we're going to be talking about this Lamar thing for a while. There's going to be a lot of rumors. There's going to be a lot of timeline tea. There's going to be a lot of tea on the timeline when it comes to Lamar Jackson. But I will wrap this up here. Been a little bit over an hour. Thank you for those who have been hanging in. If you could do me a favor, hit that like button on that way out. Helps the algae. We trying to get on that algorithm, really be algorithming sometimes when it comes to what videos get pushed, what live streams get pushed. But appreciate those who are able to tap in. Appreciate the comments. I think this might be the time frame that I'm looking to do it. I was doing it earlier in the afternoon, but I think late afternoon, early evening might be the sweet spot to be able to pull up and communicate. I don't like doing live streams where I'm just talking to the camera. I could just record and just throw it up. I really want to do that. So really want to interact with you all. Appreciate those that have pulled up. I think this might be a good sweet spot in terms of a time spot for 5 o'clock to pull up and do this stream. So if you appreciate it, what you see here in the content that I'm doing, please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you haven't already. And I will be right back here tomorrow. We'll probably pull up. Let's do 4 o'clock tomorrow. We'll pull up and we'll do another edition of Timeline T. I'm your host, the Sam D, aka Sam Dewsbury Jr. Peace.